Hey, what's happening, everyone? My name is Fitz. Welcome to episode number 16 of my review of Warren Hill's Cancun Jazz Festival. Now, I am not an attorney, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone, and a shout out to all of the latest subscribers. Welcome to the party. In this particular video, we're going to take a look at a legal document as it relates to the Jazz Festival. Now, in the previous video, I did a YouTube live thing, y'all, and I'll walk through booking your trip at the Cancun Jazz Festival website. In that example, it was for Los Cabos. And when I got to the very end, when it's time to enter in your payment information, you select your options, see what your bill looks like. At the bottom, there was a purchase agreement link that you can click on to go and take a look at the purchase agreement. Now, you don't simply look at it, you also have to sign it. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Music Getaways purchase agreement, because until you digitally sign that agreement, your booking is not complete. And we're going to take a look at that language here in just a second. So just going through selecting your room, selecting your seats if you want the seats, if you want to add the crossover night or the pre-night, and you go in, you create your account, you pay in full, or you select the payment options, you hit go, you hit send, you're not done. Your booking is not complete yet. So let's take a look at what the purchase agreement says. So I'm going to pull that up here, and we're going to walk through a couple of these. The Music Getaways purchase agreement. This agreement will be viewed and accepted at the time of purchase and will require a subsequent digital signature of purchaser to confirm the sale. Failure to complete the digital signature within 5 days from purchase date will result in cancellation of the order. So this purchase agreement, you have to sign it within 5 days. If you do not sign it within those 5 days, then guess what? Your trip will get canceled. I would highly recommend that you take the time to read through the purchase agreement. It's a legal document, but not a whole lot of legalese, right? I think it's easily or generally understood. I don't think it's very deep legal language in the document. I don't think you would have an issue really understanding it, but in case you do, if you struggle in this area, then I would have someone look at it that you trust. If you have access to an attorney, you certainly can utilize a legal mind. But me and my wife, we read through it. I think everything was understandable, but make sure you take it out. If you need to print it out and walk through a paragraph a night, well, maybe not a night because you only got 5 days, but you want to read it over an entire day, over the weekend, just make sure you read through this purchase agreement so you understand what you are getting yourself into, because this is a legally binding document that you do have to sign in order to confirm your booking. And once you do this, and there's one other you have to sign as well, but you do have to sign this purchase agreement within those 5 days. All right, let's take a look and see what's got next here. Take a look at. Also, this purchase agreement is a document that is governed by California law. So if you live in Colorado and you book this trip, and let's say you have a dispute or a claim against Music Getaways, that claim will be governed under California law. As it says right here, when I have highlighted in yellow, it says event shall be governed by California law. And it says that if for any reason that we have to go to court, guess what? You go to court will be located in Los Angeles County, California. Now, certainly we hope that you don't ever have to, file a grievance or a claim against, Music Getaways, but you just never know. But just be aware that it is governed under California law and not the laws of the state where you're from, unless, of course, you're from California. But so just be aware of that this it's governed under the laws of the state of California. So let's take a look at cancellations. Man, that's a sticky one, especially when the pandemic hit, when Music Getaways got flooded with calls, and it was just such a crazy time. But let's look at what the purchase agreement says as relates to cancellations. So payments for the event are non-refundable. Say it again. Payments for the event are non-refundable. If you decide not to attend or are prohibited from attending due to illness, travel delays, or for any reason whatsoever, the company is under no obligation to refund any monies received from you. Now, notice it says monies received from you. That means anything that you pay toward your trip is non-refundable. So you pick a payment plan and you make 3 payments, and then you change your mind and you want to cancel the trip, you're not getting those 3 payments back by law. If you sign this, it's non-refundable. Now, of course, you can call Music Getaways and maybe you can work something out, but it's non-refundable. That's what it says. Any monies received from you. And the company shall not provide nor be responsible to provide any refunds for unused tickets or cancellations for those who do not show up in time. So if you don't show up in time, you miss your flight, whatever happens, the basement floods, you're not getting your money back. So for any reason whatsoever after the start of the event. Now, what I will say is you always just want to contact Music Getaways if you need to cancel your trip. And when I say cancel and not reschedule, because we're going to talk about rescheduling here in a second. But work with them, contact them, explain out, because, me and my wife had to call as it relates to the pandemic and the rescheduling. It didn't fit our schedule. We couldn't go when they rebooked and all this other stuff. And, so we had to keep calling and just finally worked out a deal that worked for everybody involved. And so I think it was fair. I think it was fair with working with them. They were under the gun, so it was a very odd situation dealing with the pandemic, that put everybody in just such a difficult spot. But I will say that they were fair with my wife and I in terms of getting everything ironed out. And at the end of the day, we were cool with what the agreement we came to. It wasn't perfect, but it worked for us. So I appreciate them in terms of their willingness to work with us. And I believe they will work with every individual situation, within reason. Of course, you always have unreasonable requests. I think what we were trying to do was reasonable, and it all worked out. So, but anyway, if you don't remember anything else from this video, just know legally, they do not have to refund any monies that you send to Music Getaways. Got it? Got it. All right. Let's talk about the next thing. Talk about travel insurance, which I highly recommend you get travel insurance. In this purchase agreement, it says that the company and event do not provide travel insurance. So there is no travel insurance provided by Music Getaways. The company and the event each have very strict cancellation policies, and each recommends that you purchase travel insurance from a third party to protect your trip and any payment or deposit you make. And my wife certainly and I did that. We got a third party travel insurance because, number one, we had booked It was a year. Well, it was about, I think our first time we went, I think we booked 9 months in advance. Nope, it was 10 months. So it's 10 months in advance. That's a long time. You just never know what's going to happen in 10 months. Look, the pandemic just showed us we don't know what's happening day to day. So you definitely want to get travel insurance. And the one thing I will say about travel insurance that I didn't know until I started reading the fine line, even travel insurance doesn't cover everything under the sun. It's not like you can just change your mind, hey, I don't want to go now, and expect the travel insurance just to refund your money. They have stipulations as well. So in a future video, we'll take a look at travel insurance, but just know there are guidelines and certain restrictions as it relates to travel insurance. Just be sure. I want you to just please read the fine print and understand what you're getting into with travel, and understand under what situations the travel insurance will cover the cost of your trip. Will it cover the entire cost? Is it partial travel? They do things like medical stuff. So they actually is pretty good. Also, I will say, because of the cancellation due to the pandemic, our travel insurance that we had paid for did transfer to the next event that me and my wife decided to book. So that was awesome. So there was no loss. We didn't lose any money with the travel insurance part. And did we buy plane tickets? I don't think we had bought plane tickets yet. So we didn't have any issue with plane tickets refunds, which we had a huge issue. But so that all worked out kind of good there. So just so you know, they highly recommend that you go to a third party for your travel insurance. And you definitely want to do that just because of, how tricky life is these days. So let's read on a few more. So the company does not offer or sell travel insurance. It is your responsibility to obtain travel insurance at your discretion. If you do not choose to purchase travel insurance, you are agreeing to be 100% responsible for the complete forfeiture of all monies and fees paid to companies should you be unable to attend the event for whatever reason. So once again, this point is being reinforced that if you cannot attend the trip, and let's say you have a reason, you get sick, you're not getting your money back, not from Getaways. So you have to have that travel insurance. So they highly suggest you get the travel insurance if you want to have any options at all in terms of getting your money back from the event, because we clearly say here in the document that you take on 100% of the responsibility if you don't get travel insurance. All righty then. So let's talk about event reschedule and or changes in the purchase agreement. In the event is canceled and or scheduled because of circumstances or occurrence outside the control of the company, including but not limited to force majeure events such as acts of nature, fire, earthquake, government-imposed travel bans, and we've got a new word in the purchase agreement because it wasn't there when we booked originally: pandemics, terrorism, etc. Which cancellation and a rescheduling shall be made in company's sole and exclusive discretion. So you have no say in Music Getaways rescheduling an event. Now let's take a look at the highlighted portion. The company shall not be liable to you for any chain damages or expenses. So let's stop right there. So what they're kind of saying here is, let's say you purchase an airline ticket for the event. And because of one of these issues, pandemics, terrorism, whatever it is, they have to reschedule the event. Now you have to reschedule your flight. Well, sometimes you don't get all your money back when you have to reschedule a flight. They are airline. I don't know what they are doing now. I hadn't flown in a while, but they are horrible at, giving your money back or transferring it. So let's say you lose, 50% of your ticket price. or they charge you, extra to rebook or reschedule, whatever it is. Whatever the expenses you incur as a result, Music Getaways is not liable. So they're not going to pay any damages. They're not liable for any damages or expenses that you incur as a result of the event being rescheduled. If the event is rescheduled due to any of the circumstances listed above, company will transfer you to a rescheduled event, and if you are unable to attend the rescheduled event, the company will allow you up to 2 years from the date of the initial event to transfer 100% of your funds to a future event without penalty. So, in the pandemic, of course, the event is rescheduled. Now, when we went to our dashboard, they had automatically rescheduled it for the next event, which would have been March, I believe, of 2020. Now, we are at a conflict because my wife and I couldn't go in March, but we had another trip already booked. So we could not go in March. So we had to call Music Getaways, and we had to put our account. We didn't know when we were going to go, because at that point, the pandemic was still red hot, of course. That was one of the worst times during that period, right there in late spring, going early summer. And even our trip that we had booked got canceled. So everything got canceled, in 2020. So our account ended up going into this pause state. So we were in this little 2-year time frame. And my wife had called Music Getaways. We had to work a little deal with them. So, and I will say they were very fair in working with us in terms of our whole issue, our whole situation. And so I would say call them, definitely call them. No matter what you read here, I think they'll work with people who are fair and have, reasonable concerns. So I would never say not to call and just take this document and that's it, right? You have no other options. You can call them and just see and speak with someone and see if they'll work with you if something does arise. But if you cannot attend the next rescheduled event, then you have up to 2 years for 100% of your funds to be transferable. So they'll transfer everything over. You don't have to do anything. If you can make the next trip automatically, everything just transfers over. Once again, whatever expenses are incurred as a result is on you. Also, travel insurance, you can transfer that up to the next trip as well. So you contact whoever your third-party vendor is for your travel insurance, and they can also transfer your event that covers that particular event. So, as a matter of fact, I think we did it twice. So the insurance company was great to work with. We had no problem there. And so all of that transferred over, no fees, no nothing with the travel insurance. That was all really smooth. So it all worked well there. So next, under event reschedule and or changes, the company shall not refund any of your purchase price or any other charges by guests who decide not to stay through the duration of the event, or who are forced to check out early for any reason or cause whatsoever. So, once again, something arises, you have to leave the event early. Let's say you book 5 days, you stay 2, you don't get refunded for those 3 days. Now, that could be because of a family emergency, or maybe you just become belligerent and you get kicked out of the Hard Rock and you got to go. Whatever is left, you do not get any of that back. Now, the last part of this section talks about if something happens with some of the bands that are booked. So if there's unforeseen illness circumstances, issues that arise by a band or any of the talent that is booked, under these circumstances, the company will reserve the right in its sole and exclusive discretion to alter or cancel the band's contract and or advertise for this event. So if you had a favorite artist that you wanted to see and something happened, they had to cancel them, oh well, they just got canceled. And there's nothing you really can do about that. But that's up to discretion of Music Getaways. Refunds. So there is an instance where you can get a refund back, but it's kind of weird. It's the only instances when refunds are allowed are for accidental overpayments on accounts. Now, when was the last time you accidentally overpaid for something? But I guess it's possible you can do that, particularly if you're on an automatic billing. So, and if you have a certain amount that comes out, sometimes that last final payment may be less. So let's say if you're paying $200 a month, but that last payment is $175. Well, guess what? You get refunded for the $25. So that is the only instance where you can receive a refund. And I believe that's all I have for this slide. So yeah, that's the end of it. So now I highly suggest you read through this wasn't all of it. I didn't go over verbatim. So there's other paragraphs and sections in the purchase agreement, but I highly recommend that you read through this before booking your trip. Well, that's all I have for you in this video. This is Fitz. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in the next video.